This is Main Street, Mudgee, inland New South Wales. A town with a history going back to the 1820s, when the rich soil attracted the first pioneer farming settlers. Later, gold was discovered nearby, and for more than a century and a half, the fortunes of Mudgee have ebbed and flowed with gold and beef and sheep and fruit and wine. The district's most famous son is Henry Lawson, the poet and writer, who has been called the folk voice of Australia. The Lawson family lived in a two-roomed cottage close to Mudgee in the 1870s. The remains are now a monument to him. In one of his famous poems, Lawson recalled seeing the vineyards all around here. They had first been planted in the mid-1800s by German settlers. These days, Mudgee is famous for its fine wines. Particularly those produced by the largest and most modern winery in the district. The month of March, warm, dry and settled. It's time for the vintage, the culmination of 12 months' patient nurturing of these vines. It's an instant of truth when the results of a year's efforts must be decided in one critical moment by one man. He is the winemaker, Carlo Corino, a graduate of the noted Wine Institute of Alba in northern Italy, and formerly a winemaker for a leading company in his hometown. Corino has brought with him to Australia a tradition of centuries of European winemaking. Now he relishes the challenge of matching his skill with these quality grapes, grown on the Poets' Corner vineyard of Montrose, another monument to Henry Lawson. Now, there's no turning back in the long, meticulous journey that will transform these Traminer grapes into some of Australia's most highly prized wines. The first Montrose vintage was in 1975, and the company has followed a policy of making varietal wines with a distinct character. These Shiraz grapes are coming in from another part of the estate several kilometers away. Carlo Corino always prefers the grape variety to show through in his wines. So he concentrates on a range of straight Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon reds and elegant aromatic whites, including Chardonnay, Semillon, Riesling and Traminer, all with an accent that is distinctly European. The vintage continues behind the scenes, while the produce of previous years is displayed and tasted in the cellar shop. Some of the top awards won by Montrose at leading wine shows all over Australia. This broad, fertile valley, 600 metres high, is cooler than many other Australian wine areas. Combined with a delicate balance of sunshine and rainfall, produces quality table wines highly individual in character. The Traminer grapes have arrived from Poets Corner and are about to be pressed, releasing the juice. For this white wine, the next stage will be into stainless steel storage tanks for controlled fermentation. The reds, when they're pressed, travel up this way into the large fermenting tanks. Sunset is the signal for most of the day's activities to end. But Carlo Carino stays behind at the winery to test the day's production. His combined skill and years of experience will determine the quality and character of each wine in the vintage. Except for reds, which are gently maturing in oak casks, most of last year's vintage has already been bottled to make way for this year's production. This is a bottling run of a Moselle type. They're also labelling a Sauterne type that Carlo hopes will mature in the bottle over the years into a real rival of some of the great French Sauternes. This is typical of the Montrose thinking, to develop modern winemaking within age-old European experience. The Montrose winery was built by Italian-born engineers with a love of fine wines. They chose the Muggy area because it offered the finest combination of elements for the type of wine they wanted to produce. And this is the result, the blending of the latest engineering technology. Some of the reds are bottled young, after 5 or 6 months in these vats. They present a lighter style than is usual for the district, one more in step with today's tastes. The whites, too, mature quickly here, retaining the fresh quality of the grape. On the floor below, other reds are allowed to reach their full excellence. Carlo, his wife and children live on the vineyard. They often remember with affection the scenes around their hometown in Italy. But here, with the challenge of making this vineyard's produce synonymous with European quality and tradition, the future for both Carlo Carino and Montrose is bright.